Hello, Sweet Tooth and Flutter Pyrox is here playing on Phoenix Trials and Tribulations.
It's really late. Let's see how cute does.
It's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
No, it's not. You silly goose, you.
It's almost midnight. Some people, it's not really late at all. Like all party goers. Yeah, I gotta be up in like 4 or 5 hours. Now then, before we proceed any further, I'm going to announce the results of the tests we had performed earlier. Test? Yes, test on the bloody dagger that was found, and I gotta make sure this thing's still recording. It's still okay.
It is.
Okay. Just making sure. Yes, test on the bloody dagger that was found stuck in that pine tree. Oh yeah, that. Totally forgot about it. Punk. That's the weapon that Maya Fey used when she fought with the victim. So what are the results? Was it the victim's blood, or due to time constraints, a full test wasn't possible? However, there's one thing we can say with certainty. The blood that was on this dagger was not the victim's blood. That is all. Now then, let's restart that control. So it wasn't Misty's blood on the dagger.
But you're about to use Maya for it.
And whose was it? I'm sure both the defense and the prosecution know this, but this trial is rapidly coming to a close. Both sides will need to show some firm evidence, really firm, with their claims. I understand, Your Honor. From what I've heard, the witness is dangerously weak, physically speaking. So let's finish this quickly.
I can do just as many testimonies as the last person. I have the exact same amount.
I'm on my 328th cup of coffee.
No, you said you only have 17 per trial.
Not anymore. I stopped that. That's my new rule. I always change my rules. I'll give you your soda. That's one of my rules. Exactly. Agreed. Very well. Please bring the last witness.
I only drink 10 sodas per trial.
Witness, please tell us your name and profession, and if you want coffee.
My thing. My profession is, I'm the assistant manager at Wright & Co. Law Offices.
What about the coffee?
Please?
Maya!
And preferably not on Wright's face.
Can't agree with that one. No, sorry. Alright. According to the magazine I have here, you're a spirit medium of the crayon channeling technique, huh?
I'm frightened. The fake thing. I don't want any more to do with it.
Oh, Maya. The pain those bloodline causes must be unbearable.
Because why exactly do they have main and side branches? Why?
I don't know. Very well. Now then, Miss Fey. When the event occurred, you were in the garden of the inner temple. And you witnessed the moment of Miss Elisa's Duxnim's murder. Is this correct?
I didn't...
Straighten up this instant, young lady.
Huh?
Pick your head up and speak clearly. There's always time for crying later.
But
I got coffee here. Your mother was killed right in front of your eyes. Doesn't coffee mean enough to you? Coffee's my mother. And my father. There's nothing you can do to change that fact. But there's something you can do. You can finish this. Like I finished coffee. Down to the last drop. You've been watching the whole thing, right? You've seen the witnesses come out and you've seen us squeeze the truth out of them. Now it's your turn. Let's hear your testimony. On the night of the crime, what exactly did you see happen? Witness, if you please.
Yes, Your Honor.
At the inner temple.
I was passing through the garden on the way to a spare prep room when it happened. Suddenly, someone struck me over the head. I stumbled and ended up against the stone lantern. I think I screamed, "Help me!" Then something warm splashed over me. That's when I lost consciousness.
So you were struck on the head. I suppose it must have been the staff. Maya, the person who hit you. It was Dahlia Hawthorne, wasn't it?
I'm sorry, Nick. I couldn't see. I don't know who it was.
Maya, think hard.
Sorry, Nick, but I really couldn't.
Ha! Can't say it was an especially good night for young ladies to be walking around alone. Seems that'll be hard to determine the criminal through testimony alone. Very well then, Mr. Wright. Please begin your cross-examination. Maya, hang in there. She doesn't look well at all. Guess you probably shouldn't have done the freaking continuation of the trial on the same freaking time. Crazy people.
Yeah, she pretty much just regained consciousness and now she's already on trial after all that.
Yeah. Who else was on the inner temple side that night?
Well, Sister Bikini, of course. But I remember saying that Iris would be coming later as well.
On the day after the incident, Edgeworth met Bikini at Hazakura Temple. That means she couldn't be the criminal. So then, did Iris actually come later like she said?
Well, what do you think?
She seems confused. It's probably because she's so tired.
No, I'm sure I didn't see her. She must have come while I was preparing for training.
Who did it? Who hit you?
Well, I didn't see who it was. I was hit from behind.
You didn't see the person? But after that, your attacker was in front of you. How could you not see who it was?
Oh, let me think for a second. I'm sorry, I can't remember.
I was really having a hard time. What should I do? Seems kind of mean to press harder. Should I press harder?
Do you want to?
Seems kind of mean. Okay, we'll do it. Come on, Maya. This isn't making sense. Why didn't you see this person?
Well, let me think. It was, oh yeah, that's right. It was dark, that's it.
It was dark?
It's not good to have too much light around when someone's undergoing spiritual training.
Come to think of it, there was an earlier testimony to that effect as well. So it was dark in the garden on the night of the crime, which is why she didn't see her attacker. I thought maybe she was trying to hide something, but I guess not. Judging by the testimony thus far, the identity of the attacker was most likely the spirit that was channeled by Elise Ducksnim. Dahlia Hawthorne. Very well, please continue with the testimony. What happened after you were struck on the head?
I stumbled and ended up against the stone lantern.
What happened afterwards?
My attacker was in front of me, blocking out my escape, I think.
You think?
After getting hit like that, I was in a state of panic. There was only two things rolling around in my mind at the time.
Well now, this is beginning to get interesting. What were the two things rolling around in your mind?
My name is Maya Fey. 1 + 1 = 2. You crazy reason, I was afraid I was going to lose my memory. I know it's odd, considering my life was in danger, but that's how it was.
That's not at all odd at all. Your actions are understandable given the circumstances. So what did you do then?
I think I screamed.
You think you screamed, but you're not sure.
Listen, I was a complete wreck. It was dark and I couldn't see my attacker. Was it a man, a woman, an adult, a child? I had no idea. I was scared out of my wits.
Believe me, my dear, I'm certain I would have been soiled my robes.
I thought this person might attack me, so I... Anyway, I'm pretty sure I screamed. I thought it was my last hope.
Well, sounds like poor little Maya really was out of her mind. But I wonder what she meant by last hope. What do I do? Do I press for more details? Wait a minute, Maya. What's this my last hope stuff?
What? What do you mean by your last hope?
No. That's what you said. You said my last hope.
Huh? What? I said what?
Look, you were facing an attacker that you couldn't see and you screamed, right? You screamed, "Help me."
Yeah.
But you testified that you screamed that because you thought it was your last hope.
Oh, well, you know. That's like... What do you call it when that happens?
Maya's not doing so well up here.
She's shaken. This probably would make more sense if we waited a day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. I remember now. I was facing my attacker, but that's not who I was screaming at.
What did you just say?
Yeah, that's right. It was the person behind my attacker that I was yelling at. That's the person I was screaming to for help. Ah!
What is it now?
I messed up. I didn't mean to let that slip out.
Huh?
The person behind her attacker.
Witness, are you absolutely sure of what you're saying? Behind the attacker, there was another person?
I am meant to keep that part a secret. Oh, what have I done?
Huh! It takes a ton of pressure to make a diamond. That's what I always say.
A ton of pressure.
You're in a court of law here. You can't make things up or try to hide things in this chamber. Witness, the information just presented is vital to the case. I want you to add this to your testimony.
I could see a man behind my attacker by the light of the stone lantern.
A man? Who is this man?
Well, you see, I couldn't see.
You couldn't see? She's used this excuse twice now.
Well, you know, lantern light isn't very bright.
Lantern light, did you say?
There's a great big stone lantern in the garden. And there's always light for it when an acolyte is in their training. Hey, you know what they say, under the lantern darkness reigns. So I could see the person was further away, but not my attacker, who was closer. Plus, there weren't any other light sources in the garden at the time.
You don't mean, was it?
I didn't know it at the time, but I think it was probably blood.
She's saying that's when Miss Duxton, who was channeling Dahlia, was stabbed in the back by the killer?
At that moment, I was paralyzed with fear. I was just sitting there in the snow. I'm sure blood got on everything around me.
So what happened next?
I don't remember.
How were you saved? You don't even remember that?
No. I haven't got any idea. I don't really know what happened at all.
That's too bad. I worked side by side with Maya for 2 years now. You can tell that she's trying to hide something by how she acts. Right now, I'm absolutely certain she's hiding something. What do I get her on? Ooh. So there was a man standing behind your attacker, huh?
Yeah.
That man, he's the killer. He stabbed her from behind. He's the one who killed Elise Stock's Nim. Otherwise known as Misty Faye, your mother.
The killer?
Maya, you know who killed your mother, don't you? What is the meaning of this, Mr. Wright? To be frank, Your Honor, I think she is in shock and quite confused. That's why she hasn't noticed the huge problem with her testimony.
What do you mean? What problem?
Maya, on the night of the crime, that stone lantern was out of commission.
Huh? What?
It's true. There was no light anywhere in the garden that night.
No.
Order in the court. Mr. Godot, explain this. Add the pureness of milk to the perfect, clear darkness of coffee and stir. That is the state of the witness's mind right now. A cup of cafe au latte. Cafe au lait? Is that even legal? Who knows, Judge? Mr. Trite's words are the milk and you are the spoon, Your Honor. I'm a spoon. I'm no spoony bard, I'll have you know. You must have noticed it too, Trite. This witness's mental state is highly unstable right now. It's almost questionable on why we're doing this, but coffee keeps you up to do more, and it's not hard to understand why she would make a little mistake like that. Sorry, but that's not gonna cut it. What did you say? Did you question my coffeeness? There truly was no light in the garden. Then there's a fatal contradiction in the witness's last bit of testimony.
Nick? Why are you questioning me?
May I? As in Maya? But may I? Recall the witness's statement about her attacker. Maya, will be okay. Let me just contradict you, okay? Find your contradiction. Just Sounds like
Stop contradicting me.
She said that she didn't know if it was a man or a child or a woman or adult or a grandma or
A baby?
or
Probably not a
toddler or the judge.
It was the judge.
And yet, the witness could describe a person that was standing behind her. And she quite clearly described him as a man. In other words, that would have been to mean that Maya actually saw our mystery person, despite it being so dark that she couldn't see the face of her own attacker.
No.
I got you, Maya.
But the mystery person saved her life.
But killed her mother.
Yeah.
So it's like,
But killed her mother and saving her life. It's like, which one would you choose?
yeah.
I mean, that's kind of a decent stand. Right?
Yeah. Order, order, order. What in the world does this all mean, Mr. Wright? Are you saying Miss Faye saw the real killer under pitch black conditions?
Objection!
Trite, do you have any idea what you're proposing? How could she have seen in the dark? There was no other light source at the scene.
Objection!
There are some things that you can only see in the dark, Mr. Godot. Maya, you did see who the killer was in the dark. And now, you're trying to cover for him. Cover? For the man that killed her mother. There's only one conclusion I can draw from this. You know who this man is.
Please, Nick. I don't know anything. Please, I'm begging you.
Huh. You talk a good game, Trite, but let's see if you can walk the walk. It was pitch black, so what could the witness see? I'm calling your bluff.
No, Nick, don't. Please stop.
Maya's dead set on protecting this guy. The man who murdered Maya's long-lost mother. But I can't let him get away with it. I'm a lawyer, an officer of the court. I'm here to... Court. I'm here to find the truth. Alright, Mr. Wright. Time to show us what you've got.
Yes, show me your moves.
Show me your moves. Who was this person that you say Miss Faye saw in the darkness? What? We're just gonna straight up call
this
it?
person now.
Gumshoe.
Gumshoe in the darkness.
Edward?
Which Edward there?
Man, it's only Edgeworth, Gumshoe, and Gadoo. The only people like that. Okay, Gadoo. Judge looked bored. Because it was pitch black, Miss Faye was able to recognize the killer easily.
Because Godot has a glowing face.
I'm sure the court would like to see for itself how this is possible, yes? What? But how do you propose to show us something like that?
Turn off the lights.
It's easy. We just need to recreate the conditions of that night. Conditions? Your Honor, the defense officially requests, turn off the light. That all the lights in the courtroom be turned off. Well, this is... but it can't be. Huh. I'm Cyclops. That's a nice bit of deduction, Trite. You have deduced the Cyclops that is made of coffee.
No, the question is, does even he know that his face fucking glows?
Come on, Trite. After 500 cups of coffee, I can see in the dark. I am the light in the dark. By the power of coffee. Okay, there we go. Well, everyone, this is the man Maya saw on the night of the murder. Order, order, order. Prosecutor Cadeau, what is the meaning of this? Surely you must be shocked to hear yourself accused of such a thing. Why aren't you denying it? Ha! Your Honor, you're asking the wrong person. What do you mean by that? If you got a question, ask the witness. That's one of my rules. Well, Maya, how about it? What you saw that night? Was it 3 glowing lights? Well, witness, answer the question.
You're wrong. I never saw that.
Maya!
I thought the person that stabbed my mother was a man. For a totally different reason.
Well, what? Witness, Mr. Wright. Stop your chattering, Your Honor. Chattering? If it's worth asking, let's ask the witness. That's one of my rules. Alright. Well then, let's continue the testimony. Please tell us how you knew the killer was a man.
Why are you still letting her testify? I mean, she obviously is trying to cover for the murderer. Yes, Your Honor.
Huh! No, I'm joking.
I didn't realize it until after I woke up, but...
The killer.
When I came to, I was just lying there on the training hall floor. By the time I got back to the garden, the place had totally changed. The torches were lit, and the body was gone. All the snow around the stone lantern had been carefully cleaned up, too. This person did all that work alone. I just assumed it was a man.
So it was after the crime took place that the witness came to think the killer was a man.
Yes, that's right. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
No need to apologize. It's as Mr. Godot said, you're utterly exhausted. But we're gonna keep you testifying, so it's only natural you would be a little confused. Also, if you consider the situation you described, it doesn't seem too much of a stretch to assume the culprit was a man. Mr. Ray, proceed with the cross-examination. Stop you there, Maya. Or colorblind guy. Damn it! We didn't clean that up. Alright, fine. I'll go for the entire thing. Ugh. Alright, back to the beginning. So you lost consciousness when you were in the garden, is that right?
Yes, I think it happened when the victim was stabbed.
So then the person that carried you into the inner temple could only have been the killer.
That's what I think, too.
So the killer carried Maya into the inner temple. Naturally, the killer must have done it, right?
I think so.
But why would the killer tamper with the crime scene like that? It must have been something that the killer desperately wanted to hide.
I don't know.
Looks like she doesn't have enough confidence. I think I need to gather some more information before I ask her again. Torches were lit.
Yes, that's how I noticed the whole scene had changed.
I'm gonna say it was a killer who lit the torches. I mean, who else could it be? The killer probably lit them since they'd be impossible to do any cover-up work in the dark. However, if that's true, there's one thing that still bothers me. Why did the killer go to the effort of moving the body? That's true. It's hard to see how that would be of any advantage to the killer. The only one who would gain anything from that would be the only person that was at the inner temple, Maya. Very well, let me hear some more about the condition of the crime scene. So you're saying the killer cleaned up the snow. It looked really odd. Snow was removed in a natural looking rectangular shape around the lantern.
There was a lot of shovels around the inner temple. They were already heavy, way too heavy for me.
An odd fellow indeed, this killer. Why on earth would anyone want to take snow away? Well, there's one thing I can think of. Didn't you say that a lot of the victims' blood sprayed onto the snow?
Yeah. The area I collapsed in ended up being splattered.
In other words, the killer's purpose was to hide the bloody snow. I think that's the most reasonable explanation. Perhaps. However, there's something that's bothering me. If the killer just wanted to hide the snow with blood on it, there was no need to remove that amount. That's true. Could have scooped up just the snow that was stained with blood. It looks like there was some mysteries behind this issue.
But I think this will help explain them.
So you're saying that you never saw the killer, right?
Yes.
But earlier you very clearly stated that you saw a man behind your attacker.
Nick, I'm sorry.
The killer certainly went through a lot of trouble, moving the body by pendulum, manipulating this crime scene. But for what purpose? Why do all that? Maybe Maya knows more than she's letting on.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yes. I felt like the killer was hiding the evidence for me. For my sake.
What? Hiding it for you?
Everyone knew I was the only one at the inner temple that night. If Sister Bikini had come back and looked at the garden,
She may have thought that you had done it. No, she definitely would have thought so. And you're saying that's why the killer cleaned up the crime scene to make it look like nothing had happened?
yes, I'm sure of it.
Well, that's certainly an important piece of information. Why do you add that to your testimony?
Yes, Your Honor.
I think it was for my sake that the killer cleaned up the evidence of what had happened. No. body of Elise Duxnim was carried all the way to Hazakura Temple's courtyard. Then at the garden, the real crime was on the scene when the crime... The snow that we suspect was covered in blood was scooped up and removed. It is reasonable to believe all this was done in an attempt to hide the true crime scene. However, there's still one matter that seems somewhat oddish. Oh? What would that be? You must have figured it out by Mr. Doe. It's a message written on the blood on the lantern. It was written very clearly on the white stone lantern. Maya.
Ah.
If the killer was so motivated to protect Maya from suspicion, then why didn't they wipe the writing off the lantern? Ah, you're right. Order. But Mr. Wright, isn't it a fact that the killer was trying to cover up the crime scene? Indeed, but it doesn't make much sense to move the body and remove the bloody snow. Did not wipe off the most incriminating thing of all, the bloody writing. But if that's the case, do you have an explanation for the killer's mysterious behavior? Why would this killer move the body and remove all the snow, but then leave the bloody writing on the lantern? I don't know what the killer's plan was, but it's the fact that the killer left the writing on the lantern. There must be a reason for it. Well then, Mr. Wright, let's hear your opinion. Why did the killer leave the message written in blood on the... Dang, I'm gonna take 3 damage. Oh. Prosecutor Godot, early in this trial you gave me some good advice. Once you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. Maybe you're not as dumb as I thought. The real killer wanted to disguise the fact that a crime had occurred there. If that's the case, they wouldn't have left the bloody writing on the stone lantern on purpose. Therefore, it must mean that they didn't notice it.
But that doesn't make any sense. The torches were all lit and everything. There's no way any normal person would miss something as glaring as that.
You're right. There's no way any normal person would. What? What are you trying to say, Mr. Wright? There's only one person involved in this incident who could have missed seeing the bloody writing altogether. Who would that be? This is a person who could have failed. I'm playing him out again. Godot. Mr. Godot. This is what you said yesterday. You can't see everything. Is that correct, Mr. Godot? This lantern was submitted as evidence today. I would like the court to think back to the moment it was first presented. Mr. Godot, just admit it. There are certain colors you can't see, correct? You can't see red on a white background, can you? That's right, we went through this once before. During the poisoning case at Tribulations. You could see the coffee on the white apron, but you couldn't see the ketchup because it was red. Huh, It's strange. In a black and white photo, these letters would have appeared black to me. I wonder, why am I the only one who can't see them? So then, Mr. Godot, are you admitting it? Are you admitting that you can't see the red writing on the lantern? Hey, Gramps, didn't you know? That's the reason why I don't drink red tea. Doesn't drink it. I wasn't sure about it until now, but I just can't believe it. Prosecutor Godot is the murderer. But there's no going back now. I finally figured out the truth. Mr. Godot, the defense at this time formally accuses you. You are the murderer of Miss Elise Duckstem, also known as Miss Misty Fay. It's hard to believe this may be true, however, once again Mr. Wright has brought up a disquieting fact about you. Huh! Just make sure you don't fill out the indictment in red ink, Gramps. Come on, how does a little graffiti make me into the killer? Besides, it's not like it's my name that's written here. Certain that the killer wasn't able to see the color red. This is rich. Do go on, Trike. The answer is right there at the crime scene. In the snow. The snow? How so? Well, for example, why did the killer move all of that snow? Your Honor, you said it yourself. If he wanted to hide the bloody snow, why not take out just that area? Yes, why didn't he just take out that area? Ah, could it be? Yes, the killer couldn't see the red blood that had seeped into the white snow. And so he had to remove all the snow. Whew. He couldn't be sure of where the blood had landed, so he removed the whole area. Isn't it more likely that the killer couldn't see the blood because it was dark? Not a chance. The torches were all lit. You would have been able to see just fine. It seems that once again this trial has taken an unexpected turn, to say the least. Can you explain this, Mr. Godot? Uh-oh.
Wait a minute.
Maya! What is it, witness?
Mr. Godot isn't the killer. After all, he didn't even come to the inner temple until 2 days after the murder took place. He didn't show up until after the old bridge got fixed.
Objection!
Maya! You can't testify to something like that.
Why? What do you mean?
After the murder happened, you didn't even exist. She didn't. I'm afraid I don't follow. Are you senile, old man? We established this just a little while ago. After the murder, this witness was unconscious for a long time. Because she was channeling Dolly Hawthorne. Oh, that's right.
Please, Your Honor, let me add to my testimony. Nick, please listen to me.
Maya. Do you plan to cover for Godot no matter what the cost? If that's the case, then I've got no choice. Your Honor, let's hear her testify. If it means we're going to hear the whole truth, I say we should not silence her. Ha! Nicely done, Trike. Very well, let's hear the witness's testimony. Please tell us what happened at the inner temple after the murder.
Yes, sir. After I woke up, I began channeling, and my spirit left me, as it were. But little Pearlie was there at the inner temple, too.
After the incident.
Pearlie was also stuck in the inner temple side that night. The next morning, she looked around but couldn't find anyone. The next day, when the bridge was finally fixed, she was in the spare prep room. That's when Mr. Godot arrived at the inner temple for the first time. He bound Pearlie first and cheered her right up. No, Nick did.
Who is this Pearlie?
That's my little cousin, Pearl Faye.
So when did you hear about this?
Oh, just a while ago, when I was in the medical office.
Terribly sorry. What you heard from someone else is simply not admissible as testimony.
What? Come on. Pearlie would never tell a lie. She's way more honest person than I'll ever be.
Real smart, man. You always know the best things to say when you're under oath. Huh. The prosecution has no objection. We believe the witness. Mr. Godot. Well, let's just move on to the cross-examination if the defense has no objections.
Why are they allowed to do that? Whenever he's under suspicion?
Yeah. This is highly unusual, but, well, Mr. Wright, let's get this cross-examination started.
I'll allow any random testimony as long as the prosecutor allows it.
Boom, 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 boom. Oh, man. Where do you think Pearl slept that night?
In the spare prep room next to the training hall, I guess. There's a rule that you can't enter a training hall during the acolyte's training.
But even so, why did she go to the inner temple in the first place? Seems that Pearl became very worried about Maya.
She probably takes a break. There's still one more thing of testimony after this. She knew that the spiritual training I was about to undergo was very intense.
Pearl was supposed to channel Dahlia Hawthorne, but she couldn't do it. That's why she headed to the inner temple. However, Dahlia Hawthorne was already there, possessing the body of Elise Stokes' demon. She searched the entire inner temple side and end to end.
Well, you see, Pearlie gets pretty scared when she's alone. There weren't that many places to look. She says that she will look back and forth several times.
The inner temple side has two structures, a training hall and a spare prep room.
There's also a storage shack, I think. No, I think about it.
There's a storage shack too. Pearls was looking for other people, right? Would she have really examined the storage shack all that carefully?
Well, if it wasn't me, that'd be the first place I'd investigate.
So that means it's possible that someone may have been hiding in a storage shack. Pearls didn't hear the sound of them working on the bridge.
What do you mean?
I was just wondering why she would stay in the prep room. If it was me, I'd at least go out and wait at the foot of the bridge.
Oh well, Pearlie said she was sleeping at the time. She said she was so scared during the night. That she couldn't sleep well and woke up a bunch of times.
For a little girl, all alone like that. Well, we know that she would at least one friend in the Sacred Cavern. Dahlia Hawthorne, who was busy battling with the trick lock. couldn't let anyone see her, so she wouldn't have shown herself the pearls. What happened after the bridge was finally fixed? So it was your first time on the inner temple side, Mr. Godot? That's funny. Am I imagining things, or did the defense ask me a question? Mr. Wright, please save your questions for the witness. What you heard from someone else is simply not admissible as testimony. Those are your words, Your Honor. Touché, Mr. Wright. Oh well. What do you have to say, Mr. Godot? Hot nights and even hotter coffee. That's what I always say. If it hadn't been for this case, I never would have visited there. A freezing cold temple in the mountains. I think I'll pass. So he had never visited Hazakura Temple or the Inner Temple, huh? Huh! You want to say something, Trek? In any case, I have to find a crack in Godot's armor. While I cross-examine Maya, that is. Very well, please go on with your testimony. After fixing the bridge, policemen came over to the Inner Temple side, right?
Yes, then Mr. Godot.
You cheered her up.
That's what Prody said. He said it's a very nice older gentleman. Thank you for looking after my cousin, Mr. Godot.
Here I was thinking you were nothing more than a coffee addict. Huh! Cut it out. You're making me blush. This guy's really getting on my nerves.
Wait a minute,
What
was
is
that
one?
Edward?
The truth is there aren't many places to look on the Inner Temple side. The policemen were all busy going over to the garden with the fine-tooth combs, so I decided to carry out an investigation my own side, my own way, Godot style. And I'm the same way. I like to hand down verdicts in my own way, judge style. Maybe I should ask some questions, Phoenix style. Carrying pearls up. So you cheered pearls up, huh? When I found that little girl, the first thing she asked was her cousin, Maya Fey.
Really?
The bridge had burned down, and she was huddled up in that tiny shack with no heat. Even though she must have had a truly terrifying night out there. She asked about you before she said a thing about herself.
Pearly.
I noticed that you weren't anywhere on the Inner Temple side, but I couldn't find it in me to tell her that, so I gave her my last cup. With milk and sugar to hide the bitterness of the harsh truth. You give coffee to the kid. What a sweet story. Sniffle. He had a thermos of coffee? That doesn't surprise me. There's only one thing of any importance here. Where was Godot when the murder was taking place? He's already been at the Inner Temple when it happened. Otherwise, he couldn't have killed Elise Dexneme. So I gotta go through that again. Investigation. You said that you conducted an investigation of your own. Did you find anything? It looks like my investigation went about as well as yours, Trek. After all, I did miss the bloody writing on the lantern that I still think is crystal clear, but I don't know what any of you are talking about. You all need more coffee. Well, I didn't miss it, so speak for yourself, Goggles. The only odd thing I discovered was the beauty in the train hall. Beauty? Misty Faye. Naturally. Clad in her stunning Japanese garb, surrounded by the hue and aroma of Western tastes. Western taste. Could you find a stranger way to describe gravy? So from there you headed for the prep room. Wait a second, what did Godot just say just now? I think I just found his proverbial weak spot. There's only one thing of any importance here. Where was Godot when the murder was taking place? Must have already been at the inner temple when it happened. Otherwise he couldn't have killed at least 6 men. Mr. Godot. The first time you crossed Dusky Bridge and went into the inner temple was long before the murder took place.
Why do you say that?
Because he just made one fatal slip-up. The hanging scroll in the training hall. Hanging scroll?
But Mr. Godot is right. That scroll shows a picture of my mother.
Maya, I know you know who it is, but here's something you didn't know. By the time the bridge had been repaired 2 days after the murder, the hanging scroll in the training hall looked like this. What's that wonderfully delicious smell?
Did you just pull up the entire scroll?
I guess so. The morning after the crime, someone covered it with gravy.
Gravy? But why gravy, Nick?
Because gravy was much more than a condiment to the culprit. Well, Mr. Godot, if you really hadn't seen the hanging scroll until after the murder, you wouldn't have had any way of knowing that it was Misty Faye.
Wait a minute, Nick.
Yes?
Take another look at the hanging scroll. Look at the top. There's a crest there.
Ah, that. It's the mark of the master, correct?
Exactly. So if you know the meaning of the mark...
Then you could guess that it was a picture of Misty Faye on there. True, but Mr. Godot described what was underneath like this. Clad in her stunning Japanese garb, surrounded by the hue and aroma of Western tastes.
Oh.
Yes, it's possible that he knew what the crest meant. However, he couldn't have known that she was wearing Japanese clothing. Mr. Godot, on the day of the murder, you were hiding in the inner temple long before the crime took place. Can I ask you just one little thing, Trike? What is it? This whole theory of yours, it all rests on a certain assumption. That I knew beforehand that a crime was going to be committed.
That's right. Otherwise, there's no reason for him to sneak onto the scene.
Of course Mr. Godot knew about the plan.
Huh?
What did you say? Is it really possible that another person knew of the plan? Dang it. Oops. Is it really possible that another person knew of the plan? Oh, Iris?
Isn't it because Morgan said it in the middle of her thing? told you exactly where the note was.
So what do I present?
The note, I guess?
Okay, I think we got it. But gonna cut it off here, pick it up on the next one. Well, thank you for watching. Feel free to leave a comment. Bye bye.